Good morning, everybody. This is Max Farrell. This is DexFXCopy.com. Today is March 2nd, 2018, and this is your daily update. All right, everybody, let's get started. Today we got some things to cover. First and foremost, it's Friday. That means that we have some things that are going to be happening with the system. One, we're going to summarize the week on how well the trades were, what assets we're going to put on, and what assets we're going to take off. Some experimental stuff that we're doing with the bots themselves that are going to be happening, so we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about your risk multiplier. Pretty much most of you have started to go live and started to realize that, hey, this is serious. You know, we got to talk about some money and what's happening. First, let's get in and talk about the summary of the week. In fact, even what's happened just recently over the last day, from last night to this morning. Let me get over to the Max Prime. Okay, looks like we recuperated. If I would have shown you this about an hour ago, maybe 2 hours ago, we would have been in the negative, of course, in the morning. But remember, equity and trading is like this, right? You get this lull in the downtime. We know how this stuff works. Let's look at the history of what happened from yesterday to today. Here's March 1st, right here. We started out on fire. Everything was going great, and then all of a sudden we had one, 2, 3, 4, 5 losses in a row. But listen, this is not losses. This is, I guess, the opposite of winning, right? I hate the word loss or what have you, but it really is that. If we choose a direction, this is basically how trading works. If you choose a direction, you have a percentage rate that you're going to be either right or wrong. If you're right, you want this thing to go forever. If you're wrong, you want this thing to stop bleeding, if you will, right? So we're fighting in this market. So we got a couple of scratches this morning. But if your portfolio is diversified enough, you can recover. If your R values are strong enough, you can recover. And this is what it comes down to. Here's the USD-CAD Vader. Huge. 94% success rate, sitting at 18-1 right now. 18-1. I'll show you that here in just a minute. But look what it did. Has a good return ratio, 36 pips. Probably could have went for more, but I went in and adjusted some of the value and moved the stop loss up to a stronger position. Would have probably dropped down. We only got 24 pips into that run, but we secured this. Went up a little bit higher. I didn't really chase it all the way up. I probably could have stopped at 40. Okay, but we got our 36 pips, which yielded out $2.78. Okay, so recuperated the losses from early yesterday or late yesterday, early morning this morning, and came out in the day of a positive. We recuperated the week. We finally got into the positive for the week. I know. I'm sorry. It's 23 cents. Let's all head off to Taco Bell and grab ourselves a chalupa, right? But in all actuality, we started off the week hard. Why? Because we had a minus 47 pips from a stupid move last week where we didn't shut off the bot. Okay? We're not going to fall victim to that lesson this week. Okay? We're going to secure our profits. In fact, it might get shut off during the day sometime today, maybe even before 4 o'clock. All right, so don't panic. Don't worry if you're not getting any trades or anything coming over for the rest. If you see something happen on the Grinch that normally would happen on your Max Prime system, it means that I shut it off. Don't want to take any chance of any more craziness happening before the end of the day, killing our week. Let's end on a high note, okay? So maybe even right after this webinar, pushing a button. All right, so let's talk about next is a few things that are going to be added. Let's look at the Dex Grinch here. Dex Grinch had a hard week. Okay, had a hard week. Now we didn't die along with it. I mean, there was some things in there that got us killed, but we recuperated some good things. So I put some stuff on and took some stuff off. And if you look at this, we still have some saviors in there. Some that are still working out pretty good. But again, you had some losses. The per pip or per trade amounts died down on some. USD-CAD stayed really strong still. sitting about 10 pips per trade. Died a little bit on the shorts. Okay, so we still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're still doing okay. We may even have a flip system happening for next week for DexGrinch Beta. Okay, all this stuff is going to transfer over to DexGrinch Beta, and then from Beta from now on, from Beta only, we're going to start pulling out the movers and shakers. Okay, my dog's snoring again. All right, so we're going to add on a couple of them. We're going to move some off because, again, it had a bad week. So we're going to go back in and look at DexGrinch Alpha, sort of look at the whole process again, just to kind of pull back to see what's really shaking. Okay. Here's the thing. Here's another big run here. You're looking at this system in this tiny little zone of time. This is 1.5 months. Okay. And look at this. It has a little bit of a down here. You know, we're heading down just a little bit there. But as soon as it does, it sort of pops back in. And when it does, it starts to champion. Now, if it can come back in and bounce off and keep going, we may have a winner in Vader. Why? Because if we look at the summary, we have a couple that we know that just don't like to work at all. We know that, right? And we have one superstar. Look at this. 18 and 1. Whew. Loving that. And the per pip for each one, huge. Okay? This entire network is worth it of figuring this out just for that. That's right. 547 pips divided by 19 trades. 28.7 pips per trade. Now, this thing trades pretty not, I won't say sporadically. I'll say that it has a good amount of time that it trades. Let me see if I can isolate this. Bring it back to the update. There it is, USD CAD. Let's see. We started. Okay, here it is. On the 18th. So from the 18th to today, a month and so say 2 months. So January 18th to right now, a month and a half, right? In a month and a half, it's traded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, no, 19 times. Duh, 19 times, okay? So in a month and a half, it traded 19 times. So it's right around 16, 15, 14, 13 times a month that it could trade. Right? So 13 times a month times 27.8, about 361 pips a month. That's pretty damn good. If we just traded that, if we just traded the USD CAD, that's the only egg we had in our basket. But the Vader has some other superstars that are hidden. Auto USD on the short. Whew, look at that number. Okay. Euro USD on the short. Another big, huge number. Holy crap. You see? It sits about in the same where we are on the shorts on USD CAD. Okay. Not so much on this one. Just, 14 pips. Easy to figure out. 14 pips per trade. Pretty strong. But look at the reversal on the NZD JPY. Whew. Loving it. That's incredible. Same thing for the Euro AUD. And on the buy side of the Euro AUD, which had a big, huge move this morning as well. So the point is that as we begin to find new rising stars in the process, we might be taking 1 or 2 from the DexGrinch, 1 or 2 from the Vader. Let's see if there's anything over in the Canon. Great Britain Pound USD. Now, here's the thing. This has a positive equity curve on both sides. It's pretty strong, but it has a very low per pip trade process, right? Only because it's had 74% success rate, right? Which means it has some losses in it. Which means if we isolate, let's pull out this chart right here. Okay? The worst loser out of it, it's not too bad, the profit margin in that process. Let's see, 938 to 238. So this was a $7 loser right here. That's huge. that's big. It's 70 pips. But, you know, got to tell you, I think there's more of a, there is a, let me see if I pull this up. There he goes. Okay, per pip. Yeah. So it looks like we had, you know, the worst loss on the short side. So we can look at one side or another, but it's still big. It still has a lot of potential. All right. So the big thing is that finding where that solution is and how many do we put on to our portfolio. Okay, to keep our portfolio growing, to keep our portfolio moving in the right direction. Right? If we get a little consolidation happening, what do we do to push ourselves out of it? Okay, so today I'm going to be removing into the from the process some of the not so great ones from the DEX Grinch. All right, until they reprove themselves again. And we're going to be looking at some of the stuff in the Vader. One of the big ones from the Vader is USDCAD. Huge opportunities. 94% success rate. That means something's happening that's right. All right. I think I showed you enough. Oh, by the way, it's another rising star here. Simply Forex killed it yesterday. Look at, let me grab down to the history here. Look at this. This is incredible. So from the 27th, we had a great day. We had a 100 pip move on a single trade. Again, USDCAD, the superstar right there. 33, 30, 21. And we had a couple losses in there, some scattered losses. Not too worried about it. Okay, so today lost a few. But overall for the month so far, 48 pips in a positive, because we lost a little bit because of the beginning of the month, beginning of the year with everything happening, and we made some tweaks. We changed some things around with Alpha, so we got to kind of recuperate. So you can look back past all this nonsense up to here. We made some changes, and now it just seemed to like start to go. So 2 weeks ago, we made some changes, and look what happened. All right, had a couple small down days, but pretty much on the positive. All right, so we have some superstars in there too. So as I grabbed some summaries from there, another big one is the Great Britain Pound USD. It's in about 10 per. All right, but this is going to have to recuperate. We're going to start a Simply Forex beta, kind of set all that in the margin and draw from that. All right, I think that's about it. Okay, oh wait, I wanted to talk about this process just a little bit today. If you have a live account or you're starting a live account and you really have the question, we've touched on this a few times, what should you start out at? Every single one of you should have a lot multiplier of 1 in there in the very beginning, at least for your first month. Do not be in a hurry, folks. This is not a race to riches, because it'll be a run to ruin. You understand? You have to protect yourself. Anything can happen. And as it does, as anything happens, you have to minimize the losses. Okay? Now, if you trust the solution, if you trust the process, great. Then trust me in knowing that I have been that person that has put his entire life savings into things and gotten hurt. Don't just throw the ball in the air. Somebody will jump up and smack it down. You have to get to a point where you know that this is absolute for you. And what that comes with is small incremental jumps. Small. We had one customer just recently put in $2,000 into a live account. He did a multiplier of 10. He's like, Max, I trust you. I demoed out for a month. His first trade came on, and it was a loser for just 13 pips. What did that look like for him? Okay, so instead of a $1.30 loss, that was a $13 loss. Now, in the grand scheme of things, 13 bucks may not be a lot when you got $2,000 sitting in on the account. But for some of you, that might be. So the idea here is not about, do you trust me, and just throw a bunch of money at it. It's no matter who you are, start at a lot multiplier of 1. This way you're trading at 0.01. And then if it does good for the week, if it ends up at the week really good, you could set your milestones. Okay, milestones in incremental crawling, okay, are important. Your milestones could be about money, it could be about time, it could be about position, it could be about positive equity, negative equity, what have you. If at the end of 1 week you're in a positive equity, raise it up by 1 multiplier. If your balance can handle it. Remember, your balance has to be able to handle that process as well. If not, then you're just fooling around. For every $800, you should have a lot multiplier of 1 in this process for us. If you're using a very low lot leverage, okay, of 1 to 50 leverage from your company, from your broker. If you're using 1 to 300, you could probably break this down to every $200. You can have a lot multiplier of 1. Okay, and this will protect you. You can't have a $100 account and have a 1 to 50 system and have a lot multiplier of 2 or 3 or 4. Your system will margin call out. You understand? I hope you guys can get this, because this is very, 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 very important that you must incrementally crawl through this process. If not, there's nothing I can do to help you. I can't go in and change. Listen, we legally cannot go in and change your variables. Like, I can't go in and change. You're copying what I'm doing, so you take the risk of copying what I'm doing. But I can't change your lot multiplier. I can't change your progress. If I log in as you, now I'm a manager of an account, and that requires a different license, a different process. That looks really bad, Max and I, or whatever that is. Okay, I cannot be a manager of your account. That's something completely different, you understand? So you have to protect yourself. I can only suggest for what multiplier you do. I can't tell you exactly what to go in and do. I can't go in and actually physically do it for you either. You understand? All right. I hope this finds you well. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope that your week coming is the week that you need it to be. And as always, well, I'm Max Farrell. This is DexEffectCopy.com. And as always, trade well.